Welcome, everybody. Happy Sunday. My name is John Cutler. I'm the graduate program coordinator for the graduate programs, except for the doctoral program in math education in the math department. So everything that's a certificate, certification, or a master's program, that is, I'm the contact person. So thanks very much for coming. I'm going to babble so the plan for today is I'm going to babble for a little bit about our programs, and sort of give you an overview at the beginning. Here, I should probably turn the page. Let me see if I'm clicking. There we go. Yeah, so here's a photo of me and some information. But the most important information is my email address. So feel free to reach out anytime with any questions. We can set up Zoom meetings or phone calls or whatever to answer whatever questions you might have. So feel free to reach out anytime. And yeah, so we offer a bunch of different programs. So let me give you like the outline of what we're going to go through today. So I'm going to give you like a broad overview of our different programs to start off with, and then we'll do a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the curriculum. And that will be most of the presentation, or my little spiel. Then I'll talk very briefly about the application process, and then the majority, hopefully, of the session will be a Q&A for you all to ask questions. Okay, so like I said, let me give you a brief overview of the different programs that we offer in the department. So the first slide here is about our Master of Science, or MS programs. There's actually two of them. There's the base program, which is sort of our math degree. And so there's some words here about that. It sort of caters to a bunch of different people in a bunch of different settings. So people who want to go on to doctoral studies, for example, or people who might want to use mathematics in some sort of industry application, or sometimes even teachers are interested in this, in-service teachers are interested in this program, as well as lots of other people. So that's our sort of standard math program. We think of our program as being very broad. And so there are very few requirements, actually, sort of core classes. And then outside of those core classes, students are free to explore lots of different areas of their interest, okay? And then in addition to the base program, we have a concentration in math education, which sort of overlaps with that program in some sense, but has a different core. So I'll talk a little bit more about the curriculum, but that's for people who, I mean, the majority of that, of the students in that program are in-service teachers, but anyone who's interested in applying or learning about modern math education might be interested in taking in that program. Also, it's a nice program because it's sort of a mix between a standard graduate math curriculum and some coursework in math education. All right. And then here, so this is our confusing slide. So that's sort of those are the easy programs to talk about. This is our sort of confusing slide, because there's sort of three different programs here that have rather confusing names, and there's overlap between them all. Two of them have the exact same curriculum, but have different names. And I'll try to explain the reasons behind all of this. Maybe not the reasons, but the distinctions between these two different programs. Or three different programs. So one of them is the MA program. That's what I'll go through maybe first. That's the quote unquote TMGM, which stands for Teaching Middle Grades Mathematics program. That's a Master's of Arts program that's built on top of the certificate program, the TMGM certificate program. So, this is all about teaching middle school mathematics, and the three programs on this slide are all about teaching middle grades mathematics. The certificate program in particular is a 5-class sequence, and I'll go through the 5 classes and the details about them in just a second. And so the certificate program consists of these 5 courses, and then the MA program lives on top of that. The certificate program is entirely online, so those 5 classes are entirely offered online, even in non-COVID times. They're completely online. Also, the elementary school certification you can see on the right-hand side consists of the same 5 classes, and that's entirely online as well. So what's the difference between the certificate and certification program? Well, the certification program allows you to get certified to teach in New Jersey public schools as a middle school teacher, okay? Now, there are different requirements. In order to get certification, that certification, you need to already have your initial teaching certification in New Jersey, okay? And so, it's sort of a plus certification and most people who take this certification program or enroll in this program have elementary school certification, and then they want to bolster that with the ability to teach middle school mathematics as well, okay? And then built on top of that, both on top of those programs, the certificate and certification program is our MA program. So that includes those 5 classes, but also gives you a master's degree on top of that, which of course has some, for in-service teachers, has some financial rewards as well. Okay, so I'll go through the curriculum first. So those are our 5 programs: the MS base program, the MS Math Ed program, and then these 3 programs that are a little bit confusing, but I try my best to explain them, and then I'm very happy to answer lots and lots of questions about them if you've got them. Okay. Yeah. So let me go through the curriculum in a little bit more detail now. So for our base, this is our base program, our Masters of Science in Mathematics, our math program. It consists of 4 core classes: real variables, abstract algebra, linear algebra, and probability. Those are required. They are offered on a rotating schedule. So every 2 years, one of them is offered. Then in addition to that, you take 15 credits of elective classes, so 5 classes in electives, and that's where students really get to choose what they want to take. We, as a department, offer classes in both pure and applied mathematics. And so if your interests lie there, that's great. We also allow students to take classes in statistics or computer science. And so depending on what your interests are, you can take a lot of different classes. If you have particular interests that you don't necessarily know, or you have particular goals with for the degree, you have some career in mind, then that my role is to help guide you through some coursework that is relevant to those particular wants. And then at the end, you have a choice between doing a master's thesis, which is a research project where you're guided by a faculty member, and a capstone project, which is also sort of it's not, you're not expected to research necessarily, but maybe you're summarizing some research papers of some other mathematicians in a field that you're interested in, but we're interpreting that broadly. So if you're an in-service teacher, maybe we can tweak that project to sort of fit into something that might be relevant to your teaching. Or if you're interested in doing something in industry, then we can tweak it a little bit again and make it relevant to what you want to do in your future. Okay, so there's lots of different options depending on your interest and your goals. Okay, the MS with the concentration in Math Ed is different. The core is different. So you have got, again, there's 12 credits of core classes, and you can see you have to take this educational technology for school mathematics class. That's the Math 513. There's and then there's a variety of other choices. So the core isn't quite set in stone, but these courses, these 570 through 575 classes are offered again on a rotating basis. And so you do have the opportunity to fulfill these requirements within 2 years again. And then you've got elective courses, 15 credits of which have to be math classes. So sort of 15 credits are guaranteed to be math classes, 12 credits are guaranteed to be Math Ed, and then you've got an additional 6 credits where you can kind of take those either in math or Math Ed. Okay, and so that's that's the degree there. And at the end, there's a comprehensive exam. It's been changing a little bit. Certainly during COVID times, now we're requiring essays that sort of are supposed to be summaries of and connections between courses, the coursework you took as a master's student. In normal, I mean, before COVID hit, we would have exams. I think that might be going the way of the dodo. I think we might be doing these essay kind of exams for the even when we go back to being in person. Okay, so those are the two MS programs. Okay, so now I'm going to do the confusing bit. So here's the certification program. So you can see there's 5 classes, MTHM 505 through 509. They, again, for this program, so I put them a little bit different. This is the one on the right-hand side on that earlier slide of the overview slide. This is the certification program. So you need, in order to enroll in this program, you need initial certification to teach in New Jersey public schools in any form, in any field. So most of the students that are in this have elementary certification, but we've had students who've had all sorts of different certifications who in this program. It turns it into certification to teach middle school mathematics in New Jersey public schools. And actually, MSU will even file your paperwork provided you pass the relevant praxis exam. And there's a special praxis for teaching middle school mathematics before they sort of run your audit, your degree audit. So as long as you've got the praxis grade and you pay the fee to the state, then MSU will actually file your paperwork for you. Okay. Yeah. On the next, I have the curriculum for the MA program, but the MA program sort of lies on top of the certificate program. The 5 programs there with the 5 courses there with asterisks next to them are again MTHM 505 through 509. Those are the same courses that were for the certification program. And so you can think of the MA program living above either the certificate or the certification program. And we do have students who are in both the certification program and the MA program. And if you're in both those things, then MSU will file your paperwork for you as well. Okay, so if you're interested in getting your master's degree in addition to the certification, then you can enroll in those things simultaneously. You don't need to fill out 2 applications. It's a technicality that gets taken care of by the grad school. So there's some hoops to jump through, but those are my hoops to jump through. So it consists of these 5 classes, and then Math 611, those are the core classes. And then you've got these Math Ed elective classes. There's 15 credits of those. And then there is a culminating experience for this degree as well. On the books, there's a master's thesis, but as far as I know, no one does the master's thesis. So, I mean, you could, if you wanted to, is my impression, since it's on the books, but everyone does the comprehensive exam, and that consists of an essay and a presentation. And so basically, I think you prepare a lesson and it draws on your experiences in the program. All right, so that's sort of a little bit of a deeper dive into the curriculum for each of the programs. And so let me talk very briefly about the application process. There's a rolling deadline. You can apply it at any time. We tend to, I mean, we're past the add drop date now for the spring semester, so we tend to recommend the students don't start this semester, but I think most of you are thinking about the fall. And so, yeah, we take applications throughout the summer. The GRE is not required for international students. Some of these things are the TOEFL is required for international students, and we do recommend that for international students for visa issues, things get done a little bit earlier. In normal times, we require 2 recommendation letters, but during COVID times, we're lessening that to 1. You need official transcripts and a personal statement and a CV. And since you are attending the open house, then your application fee is waived.